All right, welcome back to the channel. It's that time again, once again, for another TBR video. So I will have my July wrap up here shortly. Nope, I'm talking about August. August wrap up here shortly. And what am I saying? It's August now. So as I was saying very clearly for the first time, July wrap up coming soon. This video is for August. This is what I'm reading in the month of August. I promise I've been doing this for a couple of years. Can't you tell? All right, so in the month of August, I'm actually pretty excited about this for a couple of reasons. So I am going to continue with the Greenbone saga, which is going to be Jade War, which I am already that far into. It's like 175 pages or so. And of course, I'm loving it because I did absolutely love Jade City. Thought it was fantastic. Review for that coming shortly. I am actually headed to the beach next week, though, for most of the week, so some of my reading time will be hindered because of children and catering to them at the beach, but I'll try to sneak in some reading here and there. But Jade City, absolutely loved it. I'm loving this so far as a continuation. It's really, you can already see why it's going to turn into a much larger scale war based on where we left in Jade City. Characters continue to be interesting. The sort of like one-on-one combat that you get into is always well done and sort of realistic feeling. I love the dialogue and just the politics of this world and how these interactions play out because, again, you're following gang members. It's warring gang factions over Jade rights and trade and territory, and it's super cool, and it's unlike a lot of other fantasy that I've read because of just the nature of the setting. It's very much a human conflict. Jade, yes, it sort of is like currency and status and, of course, you know, somewhat magical powers, but it's not like you have a bunch of wizards running around. This is not a D&D kind of high fantasy. This isn't even something like a Faithful in the Fallen where you're fighting angels and demons and you have, you know, mystical creatures. This is very much a human conflict with some magical elements to it. And if you're into that sort of thing, I think you'll really enjoy the series. So far, I've enjoyed the hell out of it, and I can't wait to see what else it has in store. Next up, we have what I believe is considered book 4.5, right? Something like that, 4.5. Went through the keyhole. So continuing Dark Tower, and I'm not sure where this is going to go because it's going from like the Wastelands to Wizard and Glass to this. Like it almost looks like a novella. It's still almost 300 pages long, so it's not, obviously. But I absolutely adore The Dark Tower and all of its weird glory, all of its crazy out there ideas and entirely original spin on fantasy. It's nothing that I could really explain too well to somebody. If they said, hey, what's The Dark Tower about? I'd be like, how much time we got? But no, I'm enjoying it a lot. I don't have any idea what these covers are based on from whatever the movie was. Like, is there a giant tiger out in the desert with a boy that's hiking? Who knows? But I'm absolutely adoring the series. I've loved everything that I've read by King, and that's why I keep buying more of it. And The Dark Tower is just super weird and cool and awesome. And yeah, if you're not reading The Dark Tower, my personal suggestion, if you've never read Stephen King before and you want to read The Dark Tower, just do it. Don't worry about the tie-ins. Don't worry about starting with other books. Just read it. It's fine. Next up is actually one of my more anticipated books of this year, and that's The Warrior by Stephen Arion. So I read The Coward last year, and I actually really liked it a lot. I thought it was super solid. This is a fantasy duology, so it will end with this book. This is actually my proof copy that I've had for a little while now. I'm just going to read it in anticipation of the August release of the book. I think it's August, right? Yes. And so I'm going to read this next after Jade War, actually, so that I'll have a review up for this prior to the full release of the book, which then, of course, I will likely buy. I believe, was the first one paperback? I'll buy hardcover, paperback, whatever it is out in, but I will buy a copy as well. I don't know where this is going to take me. I'm assuming it's going to be somewhat similar to like getting the band back together and fighting a new evil or recurrence of an evil from book one, but with that in mind, I mean, if you want sort of a short, sweet duology, you don't want a gigantic, epic fantasy series that goes on for 10 books or, you know, goes for 3 books out of 5 and there's no end in sight. It's definitely worth your time. I think it does a lot of things well The book one, of course, The Coward, did a lot of things well. There's a few interesting characters. Of course, there are some like more D&D kind of like fun adventure feels to it. There are some very predictable things that happen, but also a lot of things that kind of caught me off guard that I didn't expect the story to do, and they were really interesting. So I definitely recommend checking out The Coward, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it finishes up in The Warrior. And then from here, a couple of things are happening. So I was actually, someone reached out to me and said, hey, do you want to talk about Dresden Files at the end of the month? And I was like, obviously, because I love the Dresden Files. What are we talking about? Specifically books 4, 5, and 6. Okay, well, there's my reason. I have not officially restarted a reread from Storefront. Now I have a reason to, but audiobook or physical, I will be reading Death Masks, Blood Rights, and Deadbeat. Once again, did I have those books right? 4, 5, and 6? Yes, I did. I'm a genius. Hey, remember me? I'm the moron that just got really cocky about knowing that it was books 4, 5, and 6, starting with Death Masks. And I think I even called myself a genius. Can we get that playback? Yes, I did. I'm a genius. I did. I was wrong. I'm not a genius because Summer Night is book 4. So Summer Night, Death Masks, and Blood Rights is what I meant to say because I'm a genius. So I will be going through these lovely, lovely books once again to sort of refresh my memory on them before we chat at the end of the month. Details on that coming soon. But if you know me and my love for Dresden Files, I love it. It's one of my favorite ongoing fantasy series right now. I know me rereading some of this is going to please a lot of you out there, especially in Discord, because these books are fantastic. And I'm actually really excited to go back. I will eventually, probably next month or so, do this kind of like weird reread where I go from like books 1 to 3, since I will have done 4, 5, and 6. I'm excited to go back and sort of get back to the roots of the books and see some things that I didn't know, like how they would pan out later on in the series. I'm mixing up all kinds of words today. I'm eager to go back and see, the seeds that were planted early on in the series, how certain things evolved and what they eventually grew into. Because this book series started out as sort of a fantasy noir, episode of the week kind of thing, like a new crime scene happened and you'd have to figure out, what the hell happened. And then it really grew into a full-blown epic fantasy by the latter half of these books, where every single one, Deadbeat and past, was just an absolute banger. So I'm excited to restart, excited to talk some Dresden Files. Can't wait for that. So mostly that's going to make up my month. If somehow because these audiobooks go super quick, it's hard to stop reading or listening to this series because it's so damn good. James Marsters knocks it out of the park, and the books are just so fun and constantly moving that you never want to stop. It's always engaging, always keeps you turning the page wanting more. So I'll probably fly through these in about a week, honestly, and we'll see if the rest of the month is wrapped up with these. If I still have time, then I will be jumping into, I think, what is the only Brandon Sanderson book I haven't read that's not White Sands, because that's a graphic novel. I think I've read all of his other books. Emperor's Soul, which is the novella that everybody praises as one of, if not his best single pieces of writing. I've heard that so many times that I have to read it for myself. It's super short, so that is impressive. If that holds true in 130 pages, if that's the best writing that he's ever put to page, holy shit. So I'm excited for it. Honestly, no idea what to expect. I believe it takes place in the same world as Elantris, like obviously everything's tied to the Cosmere, but like more directly related to Elantris, which it's got to be better than Elantris because that was a snooze fest. Sorry if you like Elantris, but that book is terrible. Yeah, so I'm excited to read this though, and that is probably way more than I can even get to in a month. We'll see. I am going to have some beach time, so maybe relaxing on the beach a little bit, but again, we're going to have toddlers there. We're going to a friend of ours has a beach house, and we're going to have lots of kids there, lots of family. It's just going to be kind of like a crazy 5 days or so. So I'm not sure how much reading I'll actually get to, but I will have a couple videos going up while I'm gone, and hopefully I can get through all these books. And if not, I'll just roll them over to next month, because you know what? No one's telling me what I have to read. I don't have a boss, okay? But that's going to do it for my very ambitious August TBR that I likely won't get through, because do I ever when I put this many books on my plate? No, I don't. But you know what? It's okay. Let me know in the comments down below, though, what you're most excited about that I'm reading, what you're most excited about to read in August and the future. Let me know. See you guys next time.